interviews.
Hey, everybody. It is Friday, and I am here with Francie Stavish today, and I'm very excited because she has been around a long time and is the #1 downsizer in our area, and I'm excited to have her here. She goes through everything. Well, let me introduce Francie. Here she is. I'm happy to have you. Thank you for being here, Francie.
Thank you for inviting me, Betsy.
And why don't you just start out by telling us what it is that you do? I know you do a lot of things, but let's just start at the beginning, and I want people to know how they can use your services.
I am a senior transition manager, and I have been doing this for 12 years. And it can be a transition from a senior downsizing to a senior community. We help with that. My tagline for that is I am the surrogate daughter without the drama, because a mom and daughter working together, not always a good thing. I'm like
I totally agree with that. I was talking about with what I do as well is that I help families sell their home when there's a lot of family members, and you need somebody to sort of coordinate that, the emotion involved.
Yes, yes.
So that's very important.
So we'll work one-on-one with the senior, help them decide what they're taking with, figure out what furniture is going to fit where they're going. I'm pretty rough on them when it comes to closet space because they won't have the same closet space. So if they haven't worn it in 2 years, it gets donated. And they're going to take that easier from me than they would their own daughter.
Yeah.
So we get them moved, we get them settled on the other end, and then we come back and finish up the rest of the house. It's always family first. There's left or downsize, or also hired by elder law attorneys and trust officers at banks, and often refer realtors to clean out the house so they're on the market.
Yeah, and so a lot of times realtors will hire you because the houses are impossible to sell the way they are.
Yeah. Yes. And we also work with families after the death of a loved one. We then get a call from an elder law attorney or a trust officer at a bank, or sometimes the family themselves. And we go in, and again, it's family first. If a family wants things, we'll just put a sticky on it and with their address, and we will ship it to them. We will ask a question like, has your mom said she can't find a ring that she's been missing for a while? Can you keep your eyes open for that? So because we put our hands on absolutely every single piece of paper in the residence, we will usually find whatever it is they're asking us for, and sometimes more that they had no clue their parents even had. And again, it's either through an estate sale, a dealer sale, an online auction, and whatever is left after that is donation. And these days, that's hard to come by. And because I've been doing this for 12 years, I've got some wonderful resources and connections. So we can pretty much get the house empty, room swept, and ready to be put on the market.
That's great. So that's really, really important because you have these resources to get rid of the stuff, whether to sell it. And, that's your business. So, your friend down the street may know somebody who does house sales, but right. If you've been doing it for a long time, you've got them vetted, and that's important. Because I know when I call all the time, they're like, we don't want that stuff. We don't want that stuff. So
It's so true. I will call, I'll send pictures, and they're going to answer my call before they're going to answer somebody else's because they know I'm giving them really, really good items.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
that's great.
and sometimes you get what you pay for, unfortunately.
I think that's true more often than not, unfortunately, that, and sometimes you pay a lot of money for the wrong thing and uh, doesn't deliver. But, you know, if someone doesn't have any value in what they do, why should anybody else have any value? Cheap is not, if that's all they're offering is cheap, that's not good.
No,
So, and I know you also do storage lockers.
yeah, I pivoted when COVID hit. I was in a 10 by 20 storage locker that the family happened to know about. And that's not always the case. But
Wow.
we went through it, and 25 years is a long time to have a storage locker.
Oh,
There were a stack of comic books in their original sleeves, which is valuable. There were vintage items. There were some true antique items, unique. I haven't seen Tinker Toys in years, but there are people out there looking for those kinds of things.
good eye poker
So,
outers. I guess today they wouldn't
oh,
let
yeah.
you.
No,
I know.
today is
I
a
was
different
looking for
story.
a cookbook. My husband wants a recipe out of a cookbook. And I went online and I found a 1959 Good Housekeeping cookbook. But, you know, I'm thinking I should go through my books, see if I have anything like that. They're worth money. So,
Actually, the ones like from the 40s, there is a shop that will pay you for them. They're interested in items from the 40s. So,
wow. Okay.
certain kinds of dishes, and, you know, yeah, it's good to know who to call
It
to
is
pick
good
it
to
up.
know who you call. And my poor kids, they're in for bad because I throw everything out. So they are not going to find one antique in my house. Oh,
Well,
well.
it's good you're throwing out. They won't have to go through your mess the way some
No, they're
families
not
do.
going to have that job. I'm like, if it's not glued down, it's out. But
Oh, good for them.
I know, and I think that there probably are less of me than the other type. I don't really know, but I haven't gone into too many houses that. When my mother went to sell her house after 12 years, the realtor asked if anybody lived there. So, so because
So you
we're
take after
minimalists.
your mom.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, the other thing I really wanted to mention about Francie is I know you mentioned on it, but you touch every piece of paper. So, you know, when you're going through papers, and I know because I've done this, you sort of start to, but you are really a sleuth looking there for things that maybe the attorneys are looking for or family members are looking for. And you
Yeah,
usually find
I
it.
have. Yeah, and a lot of times they'll say they want all old tax returns that we can find, because if they're looking for a certain person or they're looking for something unnamed, they're like detectives, and they are trying to track down relatives, etc. So we give
Wow.
them as much background as we possibly can to
That's
help
really
them.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really an important aspect of this that I hadn't really thought of before. And of course, I'm Miss Shred, so I don't have any. Once it hits that year, I'm like, whoo, here it goes. But that leads to other problems. I better write everything down that anybody needs because they're not going to find any artifacts.
yeah, yeah. Leave a list. Leave your attorney's name, your accountant's name, your financial planner's name, any other pertinent information like
And your
passwords.
passwords. That's the big problem. If they can't
Yeah,
get into your account, the
right.
passwords.
So
Yeah.
leave a trusted family member with all of that information, so they'll be able to
Yeah.
find
You
what
know,
they
it's like
need.
it's not really a conversation that you want to have, but you
But
need to do it.
yes, Yeah, you're doing your kids a really big favor by
Right.
letting them know.
Where everything is. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
sometimes what you have, so they know that down the road they may end up having to kick in some money to help you out. So you
Yeah.
might want to know those things in advance.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
And I also want to mention, so you work with a team. I don't want anybody to think any job is too big for you because you don't have to do it. You have people that help you as well. So
I'm usually in the trenches.
you're in the trenches, but some people are there. You can have somebody help you or
Oh yeah, I have like 5 or 6 people that I can use at any given time.
good.
And the house I'm in now, there have been 4 of us.
Wow.
So
And how long, just out of curiosity, before we wrap up, a 25 square foot house, like, give me a story. Like, what's the longest it took you to get through, like, your worst nightmare or my worst nightmare? I don't think I'd be able to be in the house, but
I always quote high, but
okay.
I say between uh, 50 hours to 100 hours, depending. And I came in at 70. So
Wow. Could you imagine? I mean, that's a lot.
that's when there's a lot of stuff. And I have to open up every cabinet, every drawer, every closet. The house may look minimalistic, but underneath it, it's not.
Yeah, but the ones that are hoardy are even more. I mean, you could be there. I couldn't even, and you know, the most important thing about you doing it versus relatives, it would take relatives 10 times that long because they'd be getting involved in everything.
Right.
I mean, if it's,
We will save anything that we feel the family would want to see.
yeah,
And I'd rather save more than less.
yeah,
So when we come across old school report cards that the mom
yeah,
has saved, you know, there's a stack for family. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
and I to tell you some of the crazy things I have found.
okay, give us a few of those before.
Yeah. Money frozen in a freezer that she didn't tell anyone about.
Unreal. Whoops, I just lost your sound. There you go. Let me see. Talk.
There was a box that was taped shut, and I had to open it to see what was in there. And there were crumpled paper pieces of aluminum foil. So I uncrumpled one of them, and there was $1,000 bill in there, which they don't make anymore. So these people are in their 80s, 90s, etc. There were 30 pieces of crinkled aluminum foil and $1,000 bill in each one of them.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
When I tell that story, people say to me, "What did you do with the money?"
I'm assuming you gave it to the heirs.
And I did, and they were quite surprised. They could not believe it. They
Well,
absolutely could not believe
because, hey, you are trustworthy. That is why I am referring you, and that is a good thing good note to end on, and for people to know that they can feel safe, and when Francie is with them. So, just so everybody knows, if you want to get in touch with Francie, her information, I have her information on the website, on my website, and on this broadcast. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's there, and it's on all my social media channels. So
it. And
please.
I do a free 1-hour
Oh,
consultation.
right.
That
That's very important.
lasts
So
until the client is comfortable.
Right. So she'll come to you. If Francie will come to your house, she will go over everything. She will give you all the information, how much she thinks it's going to cost you, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Francie, for doing this and for being with us. And I want to wish everyone a happy weekend. And I want everybody to please be safe and careful out there.
Yes.
So
Amen.
have a great Thank you, Francie.
Okay, thanks, Betsy. Bye-bye.